Hey guys, and welcome back. Today we are going to be doing a first impressions with a new eyeshadow palette that just came out. So this one is from BH Cosmetics. It's in collaboration with Daisy Marquez, and I'm going to be testing it out in today's video. I haven't swatched it, I haven't done anything with it. Here's what the palette looks like. I'm excited to dig into this, to test it out, see how the formula is, try the shades on the lid, do some swatches. So if that sounds good to you, let's go ahead and get started. From BH Cosmetics website. So Daisy Marquez, if you guys do not know, is a YouTuber here on YouTube, but she is an influencer. She has collaborated with BH Cosmetics, and they came out with this palette right here. Super cute packaging. It reminds me of like a Tiffany's box. It's like that baby blue color. And then what's really cool about this packaging is that something different that I really haven't seen is it's actually a magnetic top. And when I first saw this, it kind of reminded me of like the Urban Decay Backtalk palette, how we had that piece that came in and out. And so this is just a removable mirror actually that you can put into the palette here on the top and place it on like this. So it's like a little mini vanity. So if you're getting ready or you're taking this with you traveling, it has like its own little mini vanity right here. Or you can just use the mirror on its own and just kind of hold it and do your shadow that way. I think the packaging on this is super cute. I will say it's a little bit bulky as far as like the actual size of the packaging. I'm sure that these shadows, only go so high. So the fact that it's like a bigger box makes it a little bit bulky. It's very light though. And I hope that it's secure in here if you were to drop it or something, because it does feel so light. But the actual packaging I think is really cute and really special. So this palette is retailing for $23. I know when they first released it, it was only $19, and then I think it was only $19 for like 3 days, and then it went up to $23. It is available on the BH Cosmetics website, and as of right now, I don't see it on Ulta. I'm not sure if it is planning on going into Ulta. If you guys don't know, BH is available at Ulta, so I'm not exactly sure on that. I purchased mine from BH's website. I did get it at the $19, and I found a 20% off coupon, so I think I ended up paying right around like $19 with the shipping. I only ended up getting this one for like $15 with the coupon that I did have, so I don't think that that's a bad price at all. I don't even think the 23 is really a bad price point. I really enjoy BH Cosmetics eyeshadow palettes. I have a ton of them. I talk about them here a lot on my channel, so I will see if this formula is similar to their other palettes. I do have some palettes from them that I like a little bit more than others, so I'll be curious to see what the formula is like in this one here. So there are 20 different shades in this palette, so you definitely get a variety of different colors. We have a lot of pastel colors in here, which I think is cool, but then also more of like your vampire cranberry shades, and then a few pops of color as well. So when I was watching Daisy's video, I know she kind of put them in like two color stories. Like if you were to look at the palette this way, you could create looks that way, or she said if you were to split them apart this way, like there's a ton of different looks you can do with this. So I thought that that was cool. She also did a video that I did watch showing like a bunch of different eye looks you could create with this palette. So if you guys want to see like different variations of looks, you can definitely check out her video. But I'm going to go ahead and start testing it out. I think I'm going to first swatch all of the shades just to show them to you guys, and then we will move on to testing them out on the eyes. Okay, so I do have these swatches done here. So we have 10 matte shades in here and 10 shimmer shades. So I have here the 10 mattes on this side. The only one that didn't really show up was that base color, because that's going to be just similar to my skin tone. And then I also have all of these shimmers over here, which all swatched really, really nicely. Definitely have a variety of colors in this palette. All right, so let's go ahead and start testing them out on the eyes. So I actually have mascara on because I just filmed another video before I'm filming this one. So I normally obviously don't start with mascara, so we might have a little bit of a hard time, but I think I should be okay. I'm planning on applying lashes, so if anything falls out onto the mascara, it won't be a big deal. So I'm first gonna go into the shade Naked, which is the one that didn't really swatch because that one's a little bit more close to my skin tone. I'm gonna go in with that one first and just lay it down. This one's just gonna be a shade that's going to be very close to my skin tone. I have already prepped my eyes with some concealer, but I thought I would just go over it with this shade first just to make sure I don't have any creasing or anything like that. So the next shade I'm going to go into is Dulce, this one right here, the second shade. That one's more of like a tan, like a mustardy tan shade. And I'm just going to tap off my brush here, and that shade I am going to work into my crease. So I always stamp it on the outer corner and then begin to blend it out. I'm really curious to see what kind of look I'm gonna come up with. I really don't know what shades I'm gonna go in with yet. So I know that a lot of these shades are a little bit brighter, and when I was reading like people's response to this palette, I know a lot of people said that they didn't really understand the color story so much. So we'll see what I come up with. I'm really excited because I feel like I want to play with, like I said, the pastel shades are what are interesting me most. So far this shade seems to be blending out nicely. Again, we're just kind of putting this one all over the lid. I'm not worried about making this one too precise, so I'm just kind of blending it over the lid. I'm having a really bad skin day today. I'm using a new foundation that I don't normally use, so I feel like my skin is looking like really crepey. So if you do notice that throughout the video, I'm sorry. I just tried a new foundation and I'm just not liking it, so there's that. But I'm gonna go in with, I think, the next shade. I'm gonna use Flower, which is the yellow shade. I'm gonna try that one all over the lid. So I do follow Daisy. I have watched her. I would say I'm kind of like newer to her channel. I haven't been following her for too long. But I know she does call her subscribers her flowers. So I thought that that's cute that she has a name there in the palette for her subscribers. I think it's really cool that BH collaborated with her. I know she's a bit younger. I think she's just turned 21. So I think that's awesome that she's already collaborating with brands. I think that's really cool. So this shade seems to be blending out nicely again. I'm not having any issues as far as patchiness or anything like that. I'm liking that the mirror is detached. I think that that makes it actually really easy to hold on to it. I just have the palette down on my lap. I guess I could be holding it like this, so maybe we'll try to hold it like this and go into it, but I kind of like the fact that that I can just hold the mirror so close, you know? So the next shade that I'm going to go into, I think I'm gonna go into the shade Daisy, which is gonna be like the light kind of green blue shade, and go into that one all in the crease. For that, I'm gonna grab a different brush. I'm just gonna grab a little smaller blending brush and work this shade into the crease and see kind of how that layers over top of the yellow. Since I am gonna be doing more of a pastel look, I kind of want to try out the pastel shades, like the lighter shades first. I might still deepen up the crease, but I kind of want to see how these shades layer. So it's definitely turning it a little bit more green as far as the shade goes, like adding that color on top. So putting that shade on, it definitely kind of turned this look a little bit more green, mixing that shade with the yellow. I don't know if I love how that looks. I liked it better before I did that. So I'm going to go back in actually with the yellow shade and actually make that a little bit more yellow again, because it did turn green when mixing those two. So I just think if I use that shade again, I'll probably not mix it with the yellow because it just made it definitely really green. So yeah, I'm just gonna go back in with the yellow and kind of make it all yellow again and hope that we didn't mess up the eye look too much here. The yellow shade is definitely very pigmented though. Like, it's definitely giving a lot of payoff for sure. So I'm just blending this one all over and just kind of trying to not make it so green. So I think that that's actually better. And now I'm going to deepen it up. So I am going to go in with some of the deeper shades. So I'm going to go into the shade Vintage, which is like this orangey shade here in the middle. I'm going to pick that one up and I am going to further deepen this. So for that, I'm just going to work this shade on the outer corner and start to work it in. So right now we're kind of looking like fire, mixing the orange with the yellow. But I think once I go in with like the deeper cranberry shade, I think it's going to look really pretty. All right, so now that we've got those two blended out, I am going to go into the shade Bittersweet, which again is going to be like this kind of cranberry shade. I'm going to go in with that one and deepen that up a little bit. That one is very similar to the shade Passion Fruit. I feel like those look very close. Passion Fruit is just a little bit more pink. So I am going to go into Bittersweet and again, just stamp this one down and work it into the crease. I personally feel like BH is one of those brands that gets overlooked a lot. I don't think they're mentioned as much as they should be for how good of quality that their shadows are. I have never had really too much of an issue with a BH palette. I do have palettes that I like more than others, but I've never had an issue with, you know, them not really performing. And I'm kind of noticing the same thing with this one so far. I love the fact that they're more affordable, and I just feel like they're not talked about enough. I mean, I know people do talk about them, but I just feel like, I don't know, they're not really talked about, I feel, as much as they should be. They also have really good brushes as well. I always recommend their brushes because those are really nice too. All right, so we've got that all on the crease. I think I'm gonna go in with some of the pastel shades now. So I wanna try the shade Dream, which is gonna be the blue shade, as well as that purple. So I think I'm gonna just use my finger. That's my favorite way to apply the BH shades. And I'm just gonna apply this first with my finger. And again, it's gonna be really pigmented. I love that they have like this like foiled look to them, especially when you build them up too. They look really pretty. So I'm gonna just tap this all over the lid, and then I'm gonna mix a little bit of the purple in with it, I think. And this isn't really colors that I would normally put together, like this orangey red kind of vibe with a pastel shade. But I think it can be a fun moment. I think if I were to do this again, I think I would more or less not go with the deeper shades that I did. I think I would rather just kind of stick with the pastels and then stick with the deeper shades with more of like one of these golden shades. But I think it's kind of trial and error when you're doing a first impressions. You're kind of just trying to pick out a color story. So that shade all over the lid is really pretty. And now I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing on this eye, and then I'm gonna add some of that purple shade as well. Okay, so now I'm gonna go into the shade Lucid, and I'm just gonna tap this on top of the blue just to kind of mix them and see how that looks over top of each other. So I'm kind of just tapping a little bit of this purple on top of the blue. And I thought that that would be like a cool combo. Yeah, I think that looks kind of cool. So I really like the way that those two tap together. I think it looks really cool. I'm going to now do an inner corner highlight. I'm going to go into the shade Icy, and this one's going to be kind of like a blue, like a white blue shade. So I'm just going to pop this one on the inner corner, and that is definitely a very blinding inner corner highlight, which I love. I hate it when palettes don't have like a white shade to do for your inner corner, so I appreciate the fact that this shade is in there. And then for lower lash line, I'm just going to go in with all of those same shades that I started with. So the yellow shade as well as the more orangey shade, and then I'll finish it out a little bit with the cranberry shade as well. So I was going to apply lashes, but I actually think I'm just going to leave my natural lashes. We did get a little bit of fallout on them, but I don't think it's anything too bad. So I'm actually going to complete the eye look here. I actually really like the way it turned out. I wasn't sure with these colors together how they would look, but I think it's something different. It's kind of like a sunsetty, like a purple sunset almost. So I'm just going to really quickly going to do my lip, and then I will get back with my final thoughts. All right, so getting into my final thoughts on the palette, I think that it did perform really nicely. I didn't have any issues with the mattes or the shimmers in this palette. I thought that it was true to BH's normal formula. I did really like it. I do like the color story of this. I do find it a little hard in the beginning to kind of figure out what I wanted to do. You guys saw that. But I think the more I look at it, I kind of realize like where I want to go with my next look. I think I was just wanting to try too many shades at once. But I think that this is a really cool palette. I love the packaging of it. I think it's very different. So I will continue to keep you guys updated once I continue to try this out. I want to create a bunch of more looks with this, so I will be doing that, and I will get back on here with my final thoughts in a few weeks. But so far, I thought it was really nice. I'm pretty impressed with it. It is an affordable palette, so I think that that's great. Let me know down below if you guys are planning on picking this one up, or if you've actually seen any looks that you would like me to recreate with this palette. I would love to know down below. Don't forget to give this one a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Also, don't forget to subscribe before you go, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, friends.